If you've been hanging around Cheesy Studios for any duration of time, you probably know that I love to do comparison videos. Seeing LEGO recreate a set over and over again, while admittedly a bit uninspired, gives us a great idea of how the company has changed over the years. And within the Harry Potter line, that is perhaps nowhere more apparent than with the Night Bus. You see, the formula for the Night Bus is pretty straightforward. It's a triple-decker bus done completely in purple. There's not a lot of creative leeway that the designers can take when making a set like the Night Bus, compared to something like Hogwarts Castle, where they have a bit more freedom to do what they want. So with 21 years and 8 different Night Buses, we have a great example of how the priorities of the LEGO Group have changed since the dawn of LEGO Harry Potter. So hey, let's take a closer look. The first LEGO Night Bus, unsurprisingly, would have come out in 2004, the same year in which Prisoner of Azkaban was first released. The set would have cost a rather brutal $30 back in 2004, with a relatively modest part count of 243 pieces and 2 minifigures. The 2 minifigures here are Harry and Stan Shunpike. I'll go into it in far more detail in my upcoming Revisiting Harry Potter Part 3 video, but 2004 was a big year for LEGO Harry Potter, primarily because you had the many color changes taking place. Of course, for the old grays to new grays, but also for the skin tones of minifigures. So these 2 minifigures here would have been 2 of the first to get that light nougat skin tone. One of the things that I really like about this Night Bus in particular is all the accessories that it includes. You get Sirius Black here in the form of the Grim. It's just one of those classic dark gray dogs. You get a bush for him to hide behind, one of those classic, undeniably fragile but beautiful looking LEGO bush elements. The set also includes a lamppost for Harry to take refuge beneath. You'll recognize this design because it is the same one used in all LEGO modular buildings. Here it's included in the far rarer dark bluish gray color. And you get Harry's trunk as well, with Hedwig perched atop. On the inside you'll find a printed 1x2 package tile. LEGO Harry Potter always does a great job of including weird tiles like this. If we move on to the bus itself, you'll actually find here that we have the tallest LEGO Harry Potter Night Bus. And by a significant margin too. There's no shortage of rare elements included in this set. Of course, it's impossible to miss the printed pieces you've got here, the Night Bus logo featured both on the front and the back of the bus, and also the printed windscreen which has the shrunken head attached to it. But many of the purple recolors in this set have still never been made again, even all these 21 years later. The 1x3 inverted slope here, the 1x10 brick, the rounded window frame, the door, the purple wheels, all of these are exclusive to the 2004 Night Bus. The windows that make up the bulk of the model here are the same ones that were used in the earliest versions of the LEGO Hogwarts Express, of course, redone in purple. Now, let's go ahead and crack this thing open because it's got some fun secrets on the inside. The bus splits into 3 sections with the roof included on top, and each one has a sliding bed on the inside. And you're seeing that right, that's a printed 2x2 pillow slope included in each of the compartments. Somehow that piece actually remains exclusive to the set. Versatile though it might be, it was never reused anywhere else. While the interiors here are mostly empty, this Night Bus by far has the most storage capacity. You could fit a lot of minifigures here either laying in the beds or sitting on the floor. All said and done, it is a great first entry for our LEGO Night Bus lineup. And as you'll see, future models would definitely draw inspiration from it. But that wasn't the only Night Bus released in 2004. There was also a mini one released as a gift with purchase that year. This was one of the last original Harry Potter sets that I ever added to my collection, and it is quite a fun one. You know, for its time and its pretty low part count at 58 total pieces, it's a pretty impressive model, and I think in some ways it maybe even looks better than the one we just looked at. It's not without its exclusive elements either. You get a printed 2x4 brick exclusive to this set with a slightly less obnoxious trademark sign at the end of it too, which is great. And also the purple wheels have never been produced again. Another element of note here though is definitely these transparent 1x6 bricks that span the length of the bus. This is probably one of the last times those ever appeared in a set. It wouldn't be until 2011 when we got our second minifigure scale version of the bus. The set saw a unsurprising slight price increase from $30 to $35, but there were also significantly more parts, going from $243 to $281. And you get a bonus and very much essential minifigure with Ernie Prang, the driver of the night bus. And like many of the figures of the 2010-2011 era, he's done really well. A figure that has aged a little less nicely is perhaps Stan, who has the most generic chiseled face which does not fit the character at all. At least he's got a brand new torso that matches what he's wearing in the movie. Harry, on the other hand, is a pretty generic minifigure for this time period, and he is definitely not exclusive to this set. There's a lot of similarities between this night bus and the 2004 one, but they've done a good job of spicing things up and making use of newer elements. One of the changes I really like is that the shrunken head is now its own piece, printed on a 1x1 round sand green brick. It's super goofy looking, but I love it. The brick built detailing for the front is actually really nice on the bus. I do appreciate that. I was surprised to find that the bars that make up the front and the rear of the bus are actually 6 long flex tube segments, something you don't see too often for such small size of bars. The windows and most of the window configuration is identical to the previous minifigure scale model, but what has changed significantly here is the layout of the bus. Rather than 3 empty floors, the designers have dedicated a lot of space to this swinging chandelier like you see in the movies. As you drive the bus around, this thing can swing back and forth, and thanks to the big windows, you can see that taking place very easily. It's a nice new feature. On the base floor, you've got the sliding bed again, and instead of a door, which really wasn't movie accurate at all, this is more opened up space, even including the little bar to grab onto as you drive along. Taking a look at the second floor, you'll find that most of this space is open for the chandelier to hang inside here. There's a single chair here with Hedwig on top of it, and you've got Harry's trunk, which includes 2 1x2 sock prints, which is really fun. The LEGO designers loved using that sock print throughout these couple of years of LEGO Harry Potter sets. Shows up in the Burrow, Dobby's release, of course, maybe even others. And then on the top, you can open up the 2 side roof panels here to reveal another seat and another storage compartment. While the model does lose out on some of that minifigure storing capacity, I do like the inclusion of the chandelier. It adds a lot of chaos to the inside, which is just very fitting for the night bus. It wasn't until a year after the reboot that we'd see our next version of the night bus. This is the 2019 edition. And here we see a pretty drastic overhaul in the design of the bus. The minifigure lineup is the same, but there's some significant improvements going on here. I really like the cap that they've given Stan Shunpike here. It's definitely the fanciest one we'd ever see on that minifigure. With Ernie, they took a great minifigure and made him even better, and I love the addition of the medium legs given to Harry. Harry also gets a trunk in this set too. This time around we've got 3 accessories. We're gaining an accessory each time. He's got a potion, a chocolate bar, and a letter. This edition of the night bus also saw another price increase from $35 now to $40, but it almost has 100 more pieces than the last version. The 2019 bus has 403 elements that make it up, even though the size remains almost identical. Here you'll be seeing a lot more sticker details, especially up here in the front for the engine and for the signage around the bus. The coolest thing about this take on the night bus though is the fact that rather than splitting into 3 distinct sections, this half of the bus can actually hinge open to reveal the interior. I love how this gives you the chance to play inside without ripping the set apart. And we've got all the essentials here, the swinging chandelier on top, the sliding bed below, and this one is especially great because you can actually tuck a minifigure beneath the plastic sheets. How fun is that? And Ernie's chair is actually hinged way down there, so that can slide around too. You'll see hanging in the window there, the shrunken head, this time actually printed on a minifigure head. Granted, that doesn't do much in the way of shrinking it down, but you get printing on both the front and the back, which is just great attention to detail. There's not too much going on the topmost floor of the night bus. You've just got room for Harry's trunk and then some Daily Prophet newspapers, but I especially love how they've rounded off both sides of the bus. This is definitely the most elegant solution that we've seen so far. As you can see, they're getting much closer to getting that shaping just right, especially around the back here, right? That curve is just great. It's a pretty fantastic take on the bus, but there is another bus released in 2019 too. If you've never seen this one before, I don't blame you. I hadn't either before making this video. This is the in-store build night bus that was available to make and take at LEGO brand stores the same year. It is by no means the most attractive night bus, but it is the cheapest night bus, costing free. Though I find it quite humorous that someone is trying to sell this for $100 on Bricklink right now. You know what? I'd be willing to sell this one for $50. The proportions of this bus are really quite goofy. It is super wide and super short. Yet, at the end of the day, undeniably, the night bus. And if you thought that night bus was small, wait till you see the 2022 Advent Calendar night bus. This is about as small as you can take the thing. It's just a few plates stacked on top of each other, essentially. In the Advent Calendar, it was also given a bit of a street and street lamp and sidewalk to go alongside, bringing the total piece count up to something like, I guess I didn't write that down, but not a lot of pieces. But honestly, pretty perfect for what it was trying to be. It was this year that I think we got the best microscale night bus yet. This was included in Diagon Alley Wizarding shops, and the $200 price tag of that set does mean this one is a bit tricky to get your hands on. Though, from what I've seen, there are no exclusive elements in this night bus, and it wouldn't be too difficult or expensive to recreate for yourself if you felt so inclined. The proportions here are exactly what I'd like them to be, and there's a few creative building techniques employed here, especially for the wheels, which just makes use of a Technic pin. I think that was a really clever solution. But 2025 has one last night bus in store for us. A huge thank you to LEGO for sending this set over. This is what inspired the video, and I was just looking for an excuse to make another comparison video. This set just released in March of this year, and like the night buses that came before it, this one features a bit of a brutal price increase from $40 to $50. But along with that does come a lot more pieces. By piece count, this is definitely the largest night bus to date, with 499 pieces, and LEGO has also thrown in an extra minifigure, just a witch civilian riding along on the bus. That is a pretty nice addition. And of course, the other minifigures included here are the usual three: Stan, Harry, and Ernie, and let's take a look at them all together. So these are all the Harrys that were released across the 4 minifigure scale night buses. It's really cool to see how they are indeed more similar than you might expect, especially that 2004 one. You never know what you're gonna get in those early years of the sets. But they all got that blue costume, and I think I can pretty confidently say the newest version of Harry is the best one yet. It's good to see that improvement. As far as Stan is concerned, I do really like the addition of the satchel, and I think the torso print looks great. The face print also is probably the best it's ever been, but it's a little discouraging to see us go back to the not as cool hat like the one he had in 2019. We've only had 3 versions of Ernie, and honestly I think they're all great. Especially the latest 2 are virtually indistinguishable from each other, but I can say that both the face print and the torso print have been updated for the 2025 model. You can't go wrong with any of these guys though. You also get an updated version of the Grim. Looks leagues better than the one in 2004, go figure. That's what you want to see. And we do get a Bench Bush light side build, also a huge improvement on the 2004 version. I'm glad this has been included again. It just helps you play out a lot more of the adventure rather than if you just had the bus. And of course, you gotta have Harry's trunk. I'm not exactly sold on the wheels that they've mounted to the bottom. It's just that inverted Technic piece. Then on the inside, you've got one of those common letter prints, as well as a galleon, which you can never have too many of. And let's talk about the bus. In terms of screen accuracy, this one definitely takes the cake, and that is mostly just due to the shorter windows for once. And it's kind of funny because I've seen more of the LEGO night bus than I've seen of the movie night bus. And so all these years I've kind of just been led to believe that the 2004 night bus is what the night bus looks like. But this is what the night bus looks like. And it looks pretty sweet. Beyond the improvements in the windows, one thing that I really find attractive about this model is the backside. Oh. Anyway, The way that they've used these curved elements, which of course just didn't exist a couple years ago, really gives this a sense of refinement that you do not find in the other versions of the minifigure scale bus. I do really like the steps leading up into the back of the bus. It's nothing crazy going on here, but it mirrors what you see in the movies. Like most other versions of the bus, it splits into 3 sections. Unfortunately, no lever in the cab this time around, but you've got the beds. Rather than sliding back and forth, they swing from side to side, and I love the vibrant, obnoxious coral color. You can't miss it here. I think this movement, again, is probably a bit more accurate to what you actually see in the movie too. On the second floor, you've got another one of the same beds, and then this open space again for this chandelier to hang on in down through the space. For the roof, it comes apart in 2 sections, and there you can see the chandelier. I do love the look of the chandelier, but it is unfortunate it cannot swing any further this way. It really can only swing this way, so the motion isn't quite as exciting as it is in some of the other buses. But you do get another bed up top there, and I think for the most part it makes pretty good use of the space. Though your minifigure capacity is of course quite limited, perhaps compared to that first 2004 night bus. All in all though, this has probably got to be my favorite version of the night bus so far. It's got a lot going for it, and I think it looks really good, and it's a fun build too. And with that model, that's our journey through every LEGO Night Bus completed. Pretty much every time that LEGO has made a new version of the vehicle, I've thought like, wow, this is pretty good. It'd be hard for them to improve upon it. And yet every time they give us something just a little bit more screen accurate than the last. And I think at the end of the day, I'm just surprised, especially with the minifigure scale ones, how distinct each one is from the last. Especially considering those very strict and rigid parameters that they have to work with. I wouldn't be surprised if another 5, 6, 7 years from now we get an even better version of the bus, but it will probably cost like $100 at that point. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite version of the night bus is, and stay tuned for Revisiting Harry Potter Part 3, which hopefully will be out within a month or 2 from now. In the meantime, have yourself a fantastic life.